Hey, boys and girls, welcome to another session of Reading with Redden, where we are continuing to read the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. We are now hearing the story being told from Jack's point of view. When we left off, Jack was suspended from school and he was almost expelled from school. The difference between being suspended and expelled is that suspension lasts only a few days. Expulsion is when you're kicked out of the school completely. So luckily for Jack, he was not expelled for punching Julian in the face, so he is able to come back after the Thanksgiving break. But also, we learned a word, empathy, and I told you to go home and think about it until the next time we read, but I actually want to do something for you today. I want to read the definition according to Webster's Dictionary of empathy. So, definition of empathy: the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another of either the past or present without having the feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in an objectively explicit manner. So, as we continue to read, we see some of the same things happening to Jack that Jack caused to happen to Augie. So, in a sense, Jack is now able to empathize with Augie because he's had some of the same experiences or similar experiences that Augie has experienced at his new school. So, as we continue to read today, Jack is going to have some interactions with some people that are going to be a little bit different now that they've come back from their break. And I want you to think about how the people are treating him and how does that make him feel. And as we finish reading today, we'll still be reading from Jack's point of view, but I want you to think about those things until the next time we read. So let's continue our story. Back from winter break. Despite what Tushman said, there was no clean slate when I went back to school in January. In fact, things were totally weird from the second I got to my locker in the morning. I'm next to Amos, who's always been a pretty straight up kid, and I was like, yo, what up? And he basically just nodded a half hello and closed his locker door and left. I was like, okay, that was bizarre. And then I said, hey, what up to Henry, who didn't even bother half smiling, just looked away. Okay, so something's up. This by two people in less than 5 minutes? Not that anyone's counting. I thought I'd try one more time with Tristan, and boom, same thing. He actually looked nervous, like he was afraid of talking to me. I've got a form of the plague now, is what I thought. That is Julian's payback. And that's pretty much how it went all morning. Nobody talked to me. Not true, the girls were totally normal with me. And August talked to me, of course. And actually, I have to say, both Maxes said hello, which made me feel kind of bad for never ever hanging out with them in the 5 years I've been in their class. I hoped lunch would be better, but it wasn't. I sat down at my usual table with Luca and Isaiah. I guess I thought since they weren't in the super popular group, but were kind of middle of the road jock kids, that I'd be safe with them. But they barely nodded when I said hello. Then, when our table was called, they got their lunches and never came back. I saw them find a table way over there on the other end of the cafeteria. They weren't at Julian's table, but they were near him, like on the fringe of popularity. So anyway, I've been ditched. I knew table switching was something that happened in the 5th grade, but I never thought it would happen to me. It felt really awful being at the table by myself. I felt like everyone was watching me. It also made me feel like I had no friends. I decided to skip lunch and go to the library. The war. It was Charlotte who had the inside scoop on why everyone was dissing me. I found a note inside my locker at the end of the day. Meet me in room 301 right after school. Come by yourself, Charlotte. She was already inside the room when I walked up. Sup, I said. Hey, she said. She went over to the door, looked left and right, then closed the door and locked it from the inside. Then she turned to face me and started biting her nail as she talked. Look, I feel bad about what's going on, and I just wanted to tell you what I know. Promise you won't tell anyone I talk to you. Promise. So, Julian had this huge holiday party over winter break, she said. I mean, huge. My sister's friend had her sweet 16 at the same place last year. There was like 200 people there, so I mean, it's a huge place. Yeah, and? Yeah, and well, pretty much everybody in the whole grade was there. Not everybody, I joked. Right, not everybody. Duh, but like even parents were there, you know? Like my parents were there. You know, Julian's mom is the vice president of the school board, right? So she knows a lot of people. Anyway, so basically what happened at the party was that Julian went around telling everyone that you punched him because you had emotional problems. What? And that you would have gotten expelled, but his parents begged the school not to expel you. What? And that none of it would have happened in the first place if Tushman hadn't forced you to be friends with Augie. He said his mom thinks that you, quote unquote, snapped under the pressure. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No one brought into that, right? I said. She shrugged. That's not even the point. The point is he's really popular. And you know, my mom heard that his mom's actually pushing the school to review Augie's application to Beecher. Can she do that? It's about Beecher not being an inclusion school. That a type of school that mixes normal kids with the kids with special needs. That's just stupid. Augie doesn't have special needs. Yeah, but she's saying that if the school is changing the way they usually do things in some ways, but you're not changing anything. Yeah, they did. Didn't you notice they changed the theme of the New Year art show? In past years, fifth graders painted self-portraits. But this year, they made us do ridiculous self-portraits as animals, remember? So big freaking deal. I know. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying what she's saying. I know. This is just so messed up. I know. Anyway, Julian said that he thinks being friends with Augie is bringing you down, and that for your own good, you need to stop hanging out with him so much. And if you start losing your old friends, it'd be like a big wake up call. So basically, for your own good, he's going to stop being your friend completely. Newsflash! I stopped being his friend completely first. Yeah, but he's convinced all the boys to stop talking and being your friend for your own good. That's why nobody's talking to you. You're talking to me. Yeah, well, this is a boy thing, she explained. The girls are staying neutral, except Savannah's group because they're going out with Julian's group, but everybody else, this is a boy war. I nodded. She tilted her head to one side and pouted like she felt sorry for me. Is it okay that I told you all of this? She said. Yeah, of course. I don't care who talks to me or not. I lied. This is just all so dumb. She nodded. Hey, does Augie know any of this? Of course not. At least not from me. And Summer? I don't think so. Look, I better go. Just so you know, my mom thinks Julian's mom's a total idiot. She says she thinks people like her are more concerned about what their kids' class pictures look like than doing the right thing. You heard about photoshopping, right? Yeah, that was just sick. Totally, she answered, nodding. Anyway, I better go. I just wanted you to know that what was up and stuff. Thanks, Charlotte. I'll let you know if I hear anything else, she said. Before she went out, she looked left, looked right, outside the door to make sure no one saw her leaving. I guess even though she was neutral, she didn't want to be seen with me. Switching tables. The next day at lunch, stupid me, I sat down at a table with Tristan, Nino, and Pablo. I thought maybe they were safe because they weren't really practically considered popular, but they weren't out there playing D&D at recess either. They were sort of in-betweeners. And at first, I thought I scored because they were basically too nice to not acknowledge my presence when I walked over to the table. They all said, hey, though I could tell they looked at each other. But then the same thing that happened yesterday happened again today. Our lunch table was called. They got their food and then headed towards a new table on the other side of the cafeteria. Unfortunately, Mrs. G, who was the lunch teacher at that day, saw what happened and chased after them. That's not allowed, boys, she scolded them loudly. This is not that kind of school. You get right back to your table. Oh, great. Like that was going to help. Before they could be forced to sit back down at the table, I got up with my tray and walked away really fast. I could hear Mrs. G call my name, but I pretended not to hear and just kept walking to the other side of the cafeteria, behind the lunch counter. Sit with us, Jack. It was Summer. She and August were sitting at their table, and they were both waving me over. Why I didn't sit with August the first day of school. Okay, I'm a total hypocrite. I know. That very first day of school, I remember seeing August in the cafeteria. Everybody was looking at him, talking about him. Back then, no one was used to his face or even knowing that he was coming to Beecher. So it was a total shocker for a lot of people to see him there on the first day of school. Most kids were even afraid to get near him. So when I saw him going into the cafeteria ahead of me, I knew he'd have no one to sit with. But I just couldn't bring myself to sit with him. I had been hanging out with him all morning long because he had so many classes together, and I guess I was just kind of wanting a little normal time to chill with other kids. So when I saw him move to a table on the other side of the lunch counter, I purposely found a table as far away from there as I could. I sat down with Isaiah and Luca, even though I never met them before. And we talked about baseball the whole time, and I played basketball with them at recess. They became my lunch table from then on. I heard Summer had sat down with August, which surprised me because I knew for a fact she wasn't one of the kids that Tushman had talked about being friends with Augie. So I knew she was doing it just to be nice, and that was pretty brave, I thought. So now I sit here with Summer and Augie, and they were totally being nice to me as always. I filled them in about everything Charlotte had told me, except for the whole big part about having snapped under pressure of being Augie's friend, or the part about Julian's mom saying that Augie had special needs, or the part about the school board. I guess all I really told them about was how Julian had a holiday party and managed to turn the whole grade against me. It just feels so weird, I said, to not have people talking to you, pretending that you don't even exist. Augie started smiling. "You think?" he said sarcastically. "Welcome to my world." Sides. "So here are the official rules," said Summer at lunch the next day. She pulled out a folder, piece of loose leaf paper, and opened it. It had 3 columns of names. Jack's side, Julian's side, neutrals. Jack's side: Jack, August, Reed, Max G, Max W. Julian's side: Miles, Henry, Amos, Simon, Tristan, Pablo, Nino, Isaiah, Luca, Jake, Tolan, Roman, Ben, Emmanuel, Zeke, Tommaso. Neutrals: Malik, Remo, Jose, Leaf, Ram, Ivan, Russell. "Where did you get this?" said Augie, looking over my shoulder as I read the list. "Charlotte made it," Summer answered quickly. "She gave it to me last period. She said she thought you should know who was on your side, Jack." "Yeah, not so many people, that's for sure," I said. "Read it," she said, "in the 2 Maxes." "Great, the nerds are on my side." "Don't be mean," said Summer. "I think Charlotte likes you, by the way." "Yeah, I know. Are you going to ask her out?" "Are you kidding? I can't now that everybody's acting like I have the plague." The second I said it, I realized I shouldn't have said it. There was this awkward moment of silence. I looked at Augie. "It's okay," he said. "I knew about it." "Sorry, dude," I said. "I didn't know they called it the plague, though," he said. "I figured it was more like the cheese touch or something." "Oh, yeah, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid," I nodded. "The plague actually sounds cooler," he joked, "like someone would catch the Black Death of ugliness." As he said this, he made air quotes. "I think it's awful," said Summer, but Augie shrugged while taking a big sip from his juice box. "Anyway, I'm not asking Charlotte out," I said. "My mom thinks we're too young to be dating anyway," she answered. "Hey, what if Reed asked you out?" I said. "Would you go?" I could tell she was surprised. "No," she said. "I'm just asking," I laughed. She shook her head and smiled. "Why? What do you know?" "Nothing, I'm just asking," I said. "I totally agree with my mom," she said. "I do think we're too young to be dating. I mean, I just don't see what the rush is." "Yeah, I agree," said August. "Which is kind of a shame, you know." Well, what with all these babes who keep throwing themselves at me and stuff? He said this in such a funny way that the milk I was drinking came out of my nose when I laughed, which made all of us totally crack up. So we're going to stop there today. I want to know what you guys are thinking. Jack, Summer, and Augie are all becoming friends. How do you think this friendship is going to blossom? Do you think they're going to be true friends? Do you think Augie and Jack have truly made up and are going to be okay now? What about the rest of the grade and the way they're treating Jack Will? Do you think they're going to continue this throughout the rest of the story? What about Augie and Summer? Are people going to be friends with them? What do you think? Well, until the next time on another session of Reading with Redden, I want you to think about those things. Also, think about how you can treat others. Remember, you don't always treat others the same way they treat you, because everyone's not nice in return. But you should treat others the way you want them to treat you. So remember, spread kindness and live well. Until next time, see you guys. Have a great night.